Something new is about to happen, and that something new is the super app built by the Tata Group under the aegis of Tata Digital. It's a project that Tata's top boss and Chandra has been very passionate about and spoken very often about. It's a super app that will help, that is for consumers to buy anything to do with Tata's, whether it is Trent, the Taj Group of hotels, the airlines, whether it's going to be, Chroma for electronics, watches and eyewear from Titan, all of it on one super app. They're also going to be experimenting with a never seen before loyalty program. It's going to be called NeuCoins, where one coin will be equal to 1 rupee. It's going to cut across brands, it's going to cut across categories, and it's official. The app is going to be open to the public come 7th of April. That's when all of you can also start downloading it. We thought we'll get you a little sneak peek about this app, and we're going to do that with Suhel Seth, who's known to be a close confidant of Ratan Tata and has worked very closely with the Tata Group. And Suhel Seth, I believe you've also been using the app. I know you will only praise the app right here on the channel, given your relationship with the Tatas. But I wanted to understand from you on why this app is also being seen as a game changer. What's the thinking? What's the rationale?
So I think that's a great question, Nayantara, and thank you for having me on your show. So there are three things that are happening in today's world. Customers are used to loyalty programs, but most loyalty programs reward stickiness, but they don't reward the consumer. Like if you look at many airline programs, you have miles, there are blackout periods. You can never travel when you want to. So those miles tend to expire, they get disused, blah, blah, blah. Also, you've got to understand that the Tata Group spans a lot of consumer-facing businesses. These consumer-facing businesses rightly are in verticals of their own. But there is a certain loyalty a Nayantara or a Suhel has to the Tata Group, mired in two things, excellence and trust. The objectives of Chandra, to my mind, are outstandingly strategic, because what is he doing? He is rewarding you for trusting in Tata. And what he's also doing is he's making those rewards palatable, realizable, and available. So unlike all other loyalty programs, this is not a loyalty program. It's a program of belonging, it's a program of belief, and it's a program of building. Belonging to the various businesses of the group as a consumer, believing in the group's brands and the qualities and the benefits they provide, and to my mind, building relationships that straddle the length of time and are not linked to expiration of miles or points, as you yourself in your opening remarks alluded to. Given the fact that we have TCS as part of our stable, given the fact that you have many, many long-standing consumer-facing brands, the Taj is more than 110 years old. You have Titan, you have Tanishq, you have Chroma, as you also mentioned. You have Vistara, you have Air India, you have Air Asia. So you have a multitude of brands spanning various sectors. What this allows, Nayantara, from a strategic point, are two things. It allows you to straddle a universe of brands. Number two, it allows you a redemption across a universal repertoire of brands. For instance, let's say a Nayantara, who's with ET now, is traveling on work. So she may never want to redeem air miles, but she may want a bracelet to gift to her mother, or she may want an electronic item from Chroma. So it allows you both the convenience and the realization of the fact that if you dream, you can make it happen because you've believed in the house of Tata and their multitude of brands.
But the question also is, Suhel, that can an app work if it's only going to do with the Tatas? And I'm asking this because the jury is still out, whether the future of apps is bundling or unbundling. Super apps, let's see what happens, how successful the Tatas is. But the very fact that it'll be limited to the Tatas, what did you make of that? Because the fact is, a lot of the Tata products, goods and services, I can get from other apps.
That's an excellent question. So there are 2 or 3 advantages that you're going to have. And I want to answer your very pointed question about an app. To my mind, you and I call them apps. For the consumer, these are platforms of redemption and platforms of loyalty. What will happen, Nayantara, as we go along is many single brands may want to bandwagon. Why? because of the large universe in numerical terms of consumers, plus, and this is a very important point, the demographic repertoire that we straddle. So a person who's traveling an airline, a person who's buying a bracelet, and a person who's buying salt, or a person who's buying masalas, or a person who's ordering groceries. So the repertoire is huge. Yes, you're absolutely right. You will be able to get it, and some products are still available on other apps, but two things will happen. One is they won't be as competitively priced. Number two, a lot of the times you and I have problems, and we've noticed that with deliveries of products where the owner and the app provider are not the same people. Here you won't have that problem. The third is what you mentioned. Suppose I get a Tata product on app X, which is a non-Tata app. I don't get the redemption. And I get a redemption only within that universe. So this is a great starting point. And it was important to start here because you needed to create a culture that Chandra defined in almost July or August 2017. He took over on the February 12, if I remember right, 2017. And by August, he spawned a phrase, said one Tata. We're talking about one Tata. This also epitomizes that phrase one Tata because it includes the universe of Tatas as well as all the brands that they believe in, or the brands that they produce, or the brands they market, along with a consumer interface with, let's say, a Nayantara or a Suhel. So in that sense, he's completing the strategic loop. As the success of this, begins to grow on people, I'm sure single-use brands or single brands will want to jump onto the bandwagon, which, by the way, is fine. See, platforms have to be agnostic, by and large. But here, the advantage you have is the platform is yours, the brands are yours.
Also have network effects. Sorry to interrupt you there. While platforms have to be agnostic, they also have to have network effect, because without the network effect, it fails to be a platform. And that is what we've seen in the past, right?
Absolutely. So, as I said, this is just the beginning. What you will see on April 7 is a program that will unite Tata brands and unite Tata customers. The next one will be, how do you make this more robust? See, ultimately, Nayantara, it's not about rewarding Tata companies. It's about rewarding you and me. It's about customers. The business idea behind this is to make sure that our customers are rewarded, that our customers engage with us, and that our customers are wedded to the Tata brand repertoire. So you're absolutely right. As time goes by, knowing, as I do, Chandra, who is micromanaging this as he should, and is spending a lot of personal time, I'm sure they have worked all these issues into the software, into the structure, as well as into the design of Tata Neu.
Now, rewarding the consumer is something that we've seen an experiment around. And pardon me, my job is here to ask you questions. You've heard of Cred. Cred wants to reward customers for paying their credit card bills on time. They have Cred coins that you earn when you make payments. With those Cred coins, you can use it for e-commerce. You can buy holidays, you can buy gym memberships, you can buy all kind of products, single brands as well. So in that sense, how is this app then not similar to Cred, but is just right now going to be within the Tata universe?
So that's a great question. The thing is, if you look at the Tata universe, and you mentioned some brands, but that universe is far bigger than you and I can imagine. Let's take Big Basket as an example. Big Basket itself would have over 17,000 SKUs if you call each item an SKU. Then you're talking about airlines, you're talking about hotels. Within hotels, you're talking about structures ranging from Ama to Cumin to the Taj. Then you're talking about Tata Global, you're talking about consumer businesses, you're talking about Titan, you're talking about Tanishq. Actually, if you think about it, it's far bigger than any other app that is available in India or for that matter in the world. Because for the reasons that you mentioned, a lot of companies, out of fear of being able to satisfy and engage customers, don't put their entire repertoire on a platform such as the Tatas are doing. But please understand, Nayantara, this has been work in progress for over 12 to 15 months. So all the glitches, the strategy, the objectives, the consumer engagement trajectory, they've all been ironed out. And now they're ready to launch. Will everything go hunky-dory on day one? I don't know. But the fact is that you're willing to take that punt because that punt is mired in strategic objectives of both one Tata and a Tata universe of customers.
Suhel, I'm talking to a marketer here, so I'm going to ask you this one other question. Can't be a coincidence that we're seeing the launch of this app around IPL. We know consumerism is usually very high around IPL. Tatas are the title sponsor of IPL, all that inventory. We've been watching the ads. How important was that during the launch time?
I think it was important because you wanted to be in an environment where advertising that you did was viewed, where advertising that you did was engaged with. For the same reason, Nayantara, that Super Bowl advertising is almost 4 to 6 times more expensive than you would advertise in America on networks other than Super Bowl. Please remember in 1984, a company that all of us admire, Apple, was launched during Super Bowl. When that line Steve Jobs approved, which said 1984 will no longer be 1984, referring to obviously George Orwell's seminal work. So I think April 7 will no longer be just April 7. It'll be something new. It'll be a new world of Tata and be something new for every Indian. The objective ultimately is, as you and I know, consumers don't buy brands, they buy benefits. The benefit here will be stickiness, loyalty, reward, and respect. So if these 4 attributes are worked into the app or into the platform, I think it's a battle well fought and a victory well earned.
So will this force other conglomerates, you think, to come out with similar apps, whether it is, let's say, Reliance, another group that you work very closely with, or whether it's an ITC or an HUL, etc.?
So if you ask me from a purely marketing perspective, I think the following companies are best suited for this large format platform, oblique app, or whatever you call it. I would say Reliance is the most, alongside the Tata. And I'll tell you why. If you look at Reliance businesses, they are also widespread. From petrol bunks to what we have in Reliance Retail to what you have, across the board. And within Reliance Retail, you have both the popular, premium, and luxury brands available. If you're looking at mall experiences, you're looking at Geo. So in my mind, the 2 companies that are best suited for this are Reliance and Tatas. Coming to Levers. Levers is also very well suited, but Levers will have very tough issues to handle. Both Levers and, to my mind, ITC. ITC, because of hotels, they might have a bit of an up. But Levers will have a problem for the reasons that you mentioned earlier. The thing is that they will not be able to do pricing of a nature that might hurt the Kirana store or their wholesale distribution net or their retail stores. So I don't know if they'll be able to offer price. Number 1. Number 2, their products are not expensive. An air ticket is expensive. It's a big ticket item in the Indian context. A packet of Surf or a bar of Lifebuoy or a can of, Dove are not expensive items.
How much will you discount? How much will you discount?
Earning potential will be low and your redemption desire will be equally low. So I think it's basically the house of Tata and Reliance.
Okay, so let's see what Reliance and Jio are up to. Maybe they're just going to check out competition and then figure it out. But this is a sneak peek we brought for our viewers a day before the press conference, where we are going to see that Superapp we've been hearing about for so long finally being launched, and all of the finer details. It's a story we've been tracking right here on ET Now very, very closely. So stay with us.
Thank you so much.